Now, for those that don't already know, AJV Global has expanded to a number of countries, Australia and Canada being part of it. Hi everyone, this is Nicholas here, and on today's episode of AJV Dailies, I will be discussing Australia, the land under, the home to Indigenous Aboriginal people. Stay tuned. Now, in a scenario where COVID-19 did not exist, and you did receive a student visa, a work holiday visa, or even your resident visa to Australia, here are 5 things that you would have to keep in mind before you moved to Australia. Number 1, the weather. Australia's weather varies throughout 8 states and territories. Now, Australia does have 4 seasons throughout the year. That's summer from December to February, autumn from March to May, winter from June to around August, and springtime during September to November. Depending upon which month of the year you are traveling to Australia, do keep in mind to pack appropriate clothing. You don't want to eat into your budget buying warm clothes in the winter. Number 2, transportation. Now, if you've ever seen Australia on an atlas or Google Maps, you know that the size of it is colossal. Obviously, getting from point A to point B could be cumbersome if you're walking, unless you're living in metropolitans such as Sydney or Melbourne, where public transportation is well connected or reasonably well connected. I would recommend purchasing some form of transportation or personal transportation, such as a scooter or a skateboard, a bicycle, or even a car if you have the money for it. This will save you a number of hours that can be spent productively instead of commuting from point A to point B. Number 3, accommodation. Now, it is always advisable to book some form of temporary accommodation before you travel to Australia. Now, there are a number of sites that can do that, and this is a disclaimer, we in no form endorse these brands. However, these are through personal experiences. Booking.com and TripAdvisor are 2 fantastic sites that help with booking temporary accommodation in Australia. Now, once you arrive in Australia, you could then go ahead to look for something more permanent in nature. As international students, you could possibly look into shared accommodations with your flatmates or friends that you already know that are also living in Australia. Or if you're someone that enjoys his or her own space, you could look into renting a 1-bedroom apartment for yourself. Now, keep in mind the dynamics of this does change as a family man. If you are coming with a family of 1 or 2, you probably will be better off taking a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom all to yourself instead of sharing. Now, something that is worth mentioning, Australia generally charges rent on a weekly basis instead of a monthly basis. And if you are taking an apartment all to yourself, do keep in mind that most landowners or landlords generally charge 4 weeks as a deposit. So do plan your finances in advance. Now, for those that are curious about how much it would approximately cost to live in Australia, do check out studyinaustralia.gov.au. I will leave a link in the bio for you to have a look. Number 4, bank accounts. Now, Australia has 4 major banking service providers. That's ANZ, Commonwealth Bank of Australia, NAB, and Westpac. Now, do keep in mind people in Australia have transitioned to a more plastic form of currency, where all transactions or the preferred method of transaction is using credit cards and debit cards instead of cash. So it is always advisable to set up an account before coming to Australia and have your funds transferred accordingly. Once you land in Australia, all you have to do is simply go down to the branch or the bank that you are dealing with and submit some form of ID proof and your address in order to activate your account. Number 5, cost of living. Now, the Home Affairs Department of Australia does prescribe 20,041 Australian dollars as the amount you would require in order to sustain yourself for a whole year in Australia. Now, cost of living generally encompasses everything from your rent to your food, your Wi-Fi, your phone bills, your transport, your gas, your electricity, and your water bills. Keep in mind the cost of living obviously increases or decreases depending upon the area and the city that you are living in. I hope these 5 things do help you in making a more informed decision about coming to Australia. Do keep in mind, AJV Global has a whole team of licensed immigration advisors that are simply a call away for your assistance. If you did like this video, do give it a like and do subscribe to our channel and share it with any of your friends that you may know that are thinking about traveling to Australia.